This is the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. We're taking it back to the roots, getting dirty and covering all things off-road, because pavement, well, that's for It's gloves off, in your face, on the edge, and the way off-road should be. We're your definitive source for all things dirt.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
And here we are with another edition of the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. And welcome to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode number 2 of this new off-road only edition of our show. If you missed the first episode, go back, listen to the one with Joey D from Four Wheel Parts, formerly with UTV Underground. Amazing interview with him, talking all things industry and everything in between. We're going to get into some long-form interviews the next couple of weeks here on the Off-Road Edition, but this week in particular, it's a special edition. I raced this past weekend at the Polaris RZR UTV World Championship and was able to catch up with a lot of my team Polaris RZR friends and teammates. We've got Seth Quintero, Brandon Sims, Brandon Schuler, Shelby Anderson on. We've also got Matt Martelli. We've got Will Rogers, NASCAR Next driver, who is running a Polaris RZR in the UTV World Championship. I think Seth Quintero, I don't know. Did I mention Seth? Well, we do. Tiffany and Stone and I, we nailed down a grip load of interviews out there. I think you're going to enjoy them. We had some fun with it. Anytime you get to do interviews on site, it's a lot of fun. You're going to hear some background noise and things like that. Razors moving around. We were in the RZR booth live on site out there at Laughlin. So definitely makes for an entertaining show. And you never quite know what will happen when Tiffany and Stone and I get together out at an event and able to throw down some radio. So think you guys are going to enjoy this show today. I know I definitely enjoyed kind of I guess throwing it down out there. Speaking of throwing down, we finished up, I think it was 23rd out of 62 entries in Pro Turbo UTV. So solid race. We got a finish out of it. I think there was like mid-30s, 35 cars that finished, something like that. I'll have to go and check my math on that. So I think this one, this is not going to be the usual format for this show. I think if you're just tuning in, I can promise you starting next week, we'll go back to more of a long-form interview, something like you got with Joey D. It's kind of weird to start out a show, and both the first and second episodes are a little bit different format than I think we're going to see, traditionally on the show. But I think you guys are definitely going to enjoy this one for sure. And it's I'm really, really excited about this show. There's things like I did an interview with Andy McMillan. It didn't fit into this week's show. We aired part of it on the national show yesterday. We're going to air the thing in its entirety on Project Action this week on Thursday. Make sure and go and subscribe to both of those on iTunes, by the way. I am at Jim Beaver 15, by the way, on social media. Just get all those formalities out of the way. I think we're going to go to a more long-form interview type of thing. But we're going to sprinkle some off-road into the other shows and things like that. So, I don't know. I'm just stoked to have you guys here with us. Do want to mention, though, we've got some good friends. You're going to hear the commercial spot in here in just a couple of seconds. But we've got our good friends at My Medic. I've talked about it on the national show, but they've got a part or a product that I'm really stoked on. It's something I've used in the past, and anytime that comes, into the fold with you, you get really pumped on it. Because it's now all of a sudden you get to endorse a product that you really believe in. My Medic, anyways, they've got first aid kits. They're not just any first aid kits, though. They're for, people like you and I that are out in the desert and off-road. We're racing dirt bikes. We're, riding razors, downhill mountain biking. We're action sports. We're hiking. We're hunting. They've got basically first aid kits for anybody. And these aren't junk first aid kits. I mean, they have legit products in there to help save your life. Everything from scissors to tourniquets, to, blood clotting, stuff for blood clots. It's amazing what are packed into these kits, and they're giving us a special deal. It's mymedic.com. Use the coupon code JimBeaver, and it's going to get you 15% off there at MyMedic. Go over to their website, check it out. I'm telling you, these things are amazing. I've got them everywhere now. I've got one in each of my razors, got them in the race car, the trophy truck. I've got one in my backpack when I travel to events. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm a believer in it. Always have that on hand. You never know when you're going to need it and save a life. So mymedic.com, coupon JimBeaver. So, we are, I guess we're going to take a short commercial break right here, and we're going to roll right into things here on the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
Oh, man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code JimBeaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code JimBeaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a feeling.
All right, we've got our next guest here at the Polaris RZR UTV World Championship, the Demon, Matt Martelli. If you're ever an MMA fighter, and I know you like to do jiu-jitsu and stuff, that's good. You've got to have like a name like that, the Demon, Matt Martelli. Like,
sure, I'll take it, man.
Take it, yeah. There's no demons in UFC. I think you could be the guy, right?
I'm sure there is. Somebody's got to have that name,
right?
You know. It's just one of those common things, but no, it's cool. I accept it. Like, we're here to change things and grow things, and that rubs some people wrong, and that's part of the deal. You know, I'm good with it.
I look at it though, and I look at this race, and
yeah, clearly we're failing here. 400 entries.
Yeah, but
terrible job.
This
right?
race didn't exist until the Martelli brothers, got the idea to, hey, let's, you guys and Joey D. It's like, hey, let's go and change the game, for UTV racing, and here we are. A couple of years later, and I've been here fortunate, you've had me involved, whether it be an on-air talent or now I'm racing, but, dude, I've seen this grow. In year one, it was big, but now, this is massive, and this didn't exist. If you guys didn't have this brainchild, it wouldn't be here.
No, totally. I mean, it's interesting because we go back and talk about the history a little bit, and we saw the growth of UTV racing, particularly in desert, and we knew if we stayed on this growth path that UTV racing would just, encapsulate everything. It would take over. So we thought it was time, 5 years ago to have UTVs have their own race. Because you remember, we were being made fun of. It was like, hey, you're the golf carts. And
yeah,
it's not real racing guys. And, all the different excuses. And I'm like, you know what? Nobody gets it except for the guys racing. All the pioneers, that first started doing it. If the goal is to get more people into our sport and culture, the UTV platform is the perfect tool to do that, and we are fortunate to really recognize that from the inside early on and create this race. And, obviously it's been really successful, and we're really stoked. I mean, one of the coolest things for me is seeing all the kids here. We have almost 100 kids racing, and walking down the line this morning, watching them all register for tech and contingency, it's just all smiles.
Yeah, well, and that's just, and you and I have had this conversation on air this week, but the kids, I'm looking at these kids and how talented they are as drivers. Dude, like we've talked about, 10 years from now, where's this industry going to be at? I mean, talent-wise, the level every single year is, it's just going up and up and up. I can see the speeds that Pro Turbo UTV are running right now, dude. It's bananas. Some races, Matlock at the 1,000 was in with the 1 cars. It's crazy.
Well, actually, it was funny. I was just talking to Mike Inglesby, the photographer, and he pointed something out that I actually hadn't paid attention to at the Mint, which was the fastest UTV turbo time, which was Mitch Guthrie Jr., was faster than the fastest 6100, right? So, it's an evolution, and there is a paradigm shift with the youth. It really happened. First started happening with trophy carts, but that was limited to the amount of people who could afford that. With the introduction of racing Razor 170s and now 570s, it changes the game because it's so affordable. And we're seeing youth racing happening because we started it here in really our second year, and now the whole world is seeing it. I mean, we've got guys emailing us from Australia, South Africa, Asia, Europe. They all want to start youth racing, and so we're encouraging it because it's going to change everything. I mean, now we have literally thousands of kids in a Pee-wee league, racing off-road. So the future's bright, and I'm super excited about it. I wish I was a kid right now. You know what I mean?
Both. I wish I could restart my career at
exactly
7 years old, and because these kids have, by the time they're 16, it's funny because I look at somebody like Sierra Romo. First time I saw her race, I think she was 13 or 14, and I watched her. And it was in San Diego at Del Mar Fair, and she showed up for some deal they had hired me to announce. And, here's this girl sending it. And Cody Raiders at the time. Cody was, factory Polaris guy, short course. He was doing all the, Cody's a shredder.
Yep.
And Sierra's all over his rear bumper.
Yeah.
And, she's trying to pass him. And I'm like, who the hell is this girl?
Well,
and even Raiders afterwards, I said, what's going on? And he's like, dude, he's like, I couldn't hold her back. And I'm like, when Cody Raiders is doing that, and she's 13, and now Sierra's 18, and she's got that much better. She's pushing. She's going to win an overall in UTV here in the desert sometime soon, guaranteed.
Any point. And that the women, that's another cool part of it is that we've also seen that shift because the cost of racing has come down. More and more women are competing. And last year, Shelby Anderson, she won the production class. And now we have over 20 women racing with us because women see the success of women, that they're not just out here competing, but they're winning. Her and really Kristen Matlock are the ones who are changing the game because, let's talk about the truth of this style of racing is, you can be, muscular, macho man, lose your head and drive like a maniac. That doesn't mean you're going to win. In fact, it's really the opposite. You have to be fast and smooth and patient, and that, women are a little bit better than that. Let's be honest, right? So it's really cool to see. We want to see more women racing. It's empowering to them. Yeah. Our sisters, our moms, our aunts, whoever they are. We want to see them out here racing and not just hanging out in the pits.
Yeah.
So that's another cool paradigm shift that the UTV platform is allowed for.
Well, and you see families. We talked about Romos. And it's something for everybody. The Campbell families out here. It's just top to bottom. You got kids racing, adults racing. I mean, I know Lambert. His kids have raced in multiple divisions, and he races. And it's it's rad. It's just a mix of, I don't know. It's one.
It's cool. I mean, it's just like many other sports where they have a Pee-wee league, and the parent is a baseball fan or baseball enthusiast, and the kid is baseball enthusiast, and so on. So we've never had this before where you can pass something on to your kid that he can actually drive and be safe in. I mean, that's another big aspect of it is nothing against motorcycles. They've built a fantastic culture, and they're part of the culture of off-road racing. But there's a lot of parents who don't want to put their kids on a bike.
And now rightfully so. I get it. I mean,
yeah, and now they can put them into a cage vehicle that on rollovers they're fine. So it's really cool to see. I mean, every year, that's one of the things I'm the most excited about is seeing all the kids come out and race and the smiles on their faces.
Yeah. So obviously here at the UTV World Championship, I mean, we've seen this. We've seen the Mint grow. We've seen this grow. I mean, what's next for the sport off-road, Matt? I mean, we've got some. Obviously we haven't even talked about Baja, but we've got these marquee events now. I mean, and I know even with this World of X Games TV we've seen in the past and things like that. I mean, so we've got that mainstream exposure. I mean, what do you think's next for the sport of off-road?
Well, I mean, geographically, we need to be racing in more places. So we're going to do more UTV World Championships in different geographic locations. It was always the plan to do one in the Midwest, do one on the East Coast, and do one in the South. And now the car counts are getting to the point where it can be supported. So that's really what's next for UTV Worlds. And the same for Mint. Like, there's lots of places to race in the U.S. And abroad that we want to put on Mint scale races. And even, it's funny because we talk about the UTV World and Mint as separate entities, but there's some crossover there. Obviously, there's guys racing, that won the Mint and raced in the Mint, and they're racing here. And next year we want to bring the kids racing to the Mint. That's also one of our goals. So put them in front of the big show and continue to expose it to more people.
Yeah. Well, looks like our next guest hanging out over there, Miss Shelby Anderson. Speaking of somebody that's worked their way up the ladder system.
Defending champ right now.
Defending champ, right?
She's starting way in the back. She's got her work cut out. But I think last time she started like 23rd. And, and then she came around physically third. And
I was talking to Rod, her dad, Rod. He said it played into her favor last year, though.
Yeah.
He says and we've seen, I think the Schulers came from the back one year, and I don't know if Brandon won, but he podiumed from the last group.
Well, and that's what's cool about off-road racing in general is I always compare it to MMA. It's like anything can happen. You know, there's so many variables, whether it's the course or the traffic or your vehicle prep. You go out there and you have 80 people to battle with plus the desert, and you really don't know what's going to happen.
Awesome, Matt. Well, always fun catching up, buddy. Thanks for swinging by. I know this is a busy weekend for you, but looking forward to having some fun in the dirt with you guys this weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere as possible with a Down and Dirty radio show since 2012. All right, rolling through these interviews. We just literally threw Matt Martelli out of the chair, told him, get lost. We got Shelby Anderson sitting down. Shelby trumps Matt every day of the week. She's just laughing. I guess I felt like I should give you one of these UFC intros, reigning, defending UFC World Champion of the World, Shelby Anderson.
Yeah, no, it's awesome coming
You're
back
yeah,
here.
no.
I was going to even pull up music, but then she didn't seem that excited, so I was like, never mind.
Just the final countdown, just intro into.
Oh, you just wait. You keep going, Shelby. You keep talking. I'm going to find this.
But no, it's really exciting to be back this year. The class is a lot bigger this year than it was last year, so I'm starting 27th because
you started in the back last year, though, right?
Yeah, I did. I started, I think, 23rd, which was, I think there's only 30 people last year, but now there's up to 45, I think, in my class. So it's I thought I was in the back, but now I'm mid-pack. So it's kind of crazy to see how big that class is this year.
I drew the last couple of years. I was in the first row. Last year I was in the second row. Which neither one are bad, obviously. This year I'm in the very last row. And I'm seriously, we got 70-something entries, and I'm all the way in the back, and it's you just got to survive lap one and get through the chaos. It's man, it could be an advantage, I think, in the back. I see what you've done. I know Brandon Schuler made a run from the back a couple years ago and podiumed, I think. So, I think sometimes it could be an advantage.
Yeah, I think even just coming from the work stuff, we're kind of used to that because if you do bad the first round, okay, you're bad in points. So usually they do 8 to 10 people wide. So if you're 13th in points, you start second row and you have the minute-long gaps. So you have to make up that time. And I think that's what kind of has trained me is working through the work stuff. And now it just kind of prepares me for this. And I like starting in the second row. I don't like starting in the front row because I think it's harder to keep the time than to make it up.
Well, and you can see when everybody messes up which parts not to, what to not hit.
Oh, there's a car flipped over. We don't want to do that.
Don't do that one.
You might want to slow down here.
See that one? They just slammed on their brakes. Okay.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Is you kind of see and you just hear from other people. Like my dad will be spotting for me, and he'll just say, "Oh, it looks like there was a big pile up somewhere over here." So, okay, like, all right, well, maybe over there. I need to be careful if everybody's wadding over there. So I
love your dad. Like I talked with him earlier. Him and I walked around for about 5 minutes. And we were just talking, and like he loves your success. I think more than you actually love your success. Like he's so ear to ear grin and like talking about strategy already, and this is how we did it last year. And I think this played into our favor. We're going to do this year. And like your dad is so like into this. I'm like, you have such a great support system for your racing.
Yeah, it's awesome. My dad and one of our family friends, Rob, has been there since I was in trophy carts. So since I was like 8. And so it's cool to just have that through my very highs and my very lows of my career. So it's awesome. And even besides them, I have the rest of my family that are racing also. So it's cool to have in my family in this.
It's one thing, and I don't know that any other manufacturer has that. And we saw it like because we have this group text that was just went off the rails. I'm in 2 different group texts with Polaris. One is like the ambassadors or influencers, and then this other one I just started, it's about getting interviews together, and stuff goes off the rails. But it's funny is like we all poke fun and we all make joke, but at the end of the day, I know like every single person in that group has my back. I can go into their pit, I can ask for anything, they would go to war for me. And it's like I think the Polaris group of individuals they've built there, it's like it's something special. Like I mean, because I feel like you said, it's just one big family, and it's like we all have a good time together, and we all know we go to war for one another,
Yeah, and I feel like even just a part of this industry, like the off-road industry, is different than even any other motorsports industry. I feel like everybody is always just one. Like, we're all family. It doesn't matter if I'm racing against you in 5 minutes. Like, if you need something, I'll drop everything and I will get you that. And I think that's just how we've grown up in the industry, and it definitely makes us the people that we are, for sure. Yeah. Because we all have the same personalities for the most part, Like, if you think about it.
Yeah, so, we all like the same things.
Yeah, exactly.
What are these things that we are talking about?
Yeah.
Well, last time I talked to some Polaris drivers, they all went out and partied. Remember at the Mint?
Yeah, those ones are probably like, Tiff's like, we don't want to go there.
We're not going there.
No. We won't even name them because Shelby knows who we're probably talking about already.
Yeah, Snapchat. Snapchat tells all.
It's okay. Jim said I dodged it. He's like, Tiffany, you dodged it by not going out with us. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I was like, you dodged a big bullet that night.
It's okay, though.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, we're here. What's your racing plans? I know you're like this. You got this. You're still going to school, correct?
Yeah.
Plus, you are working for Polaris RZR Marketing. Plus, you're racing. Like, I'm like, what does this year look like for Shelby Anderson?
It's even honestly because I started my internship last summer, and I started doing that with them, and then we just never stopped. So I've been doing that.
You're the intern that never went away.
Yeah, pretty much, which is cool because I love what I do. It doesn't even feel like a job most of the time because I know about it. I know everybody in it. Like, it's not...
You were the perfect person for that job, by the way. Like, seriously. And this is not throwing anybody under the bus prior to you, but, like, you came in there, and life got so much better for everybody. And I think even everybody at Polaris, like, you were, like, because you know everybody, you know everybody's needs, you know what they want, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, like... And everything, it's like, within 24 hours, it's like, boom, 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 this is handled, this is handled. I'm like... I told Evan the other day, I'm like, whatever you pay Shelby, it needs to be like double.
No, it's cool. It's not even about that. Like, if you've met Hot Rod, like, my dad's always been the person to just help everybody. It doesn't matter who or what it is. If they need help, like, you want to help them. And I definitely got that trait from him. So it's just like that's where I get part of my happiness from, is just from helping other people out. And then knowing them and, like, being in the industry, it just makes it so much more fun and so much more worth it.
Yeah. So do you even know, I know obviously you're signed Polaris Racer, but do you know what events you're running this year? Like any series you're going to try and key in on at all? I know you bounce between works, you do some desert here and there. Like,
yeah, my main focus this year is works, and then I plan on, like, going to Crandon this year and just running that because 50th anniversary, it'll be
cool. Why not, right?
Yeah, so they're all going.
I wanted to race last year, and then they hired me to do TV. It's like I was stoked on that, but I was so bummed because I literally had a ride lined up with bikemen to do the two Crandons, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
that looks like so much fun. Like you said, you just got to go and do it, right?
Yeah, that's definitely like a once in a lifetime thing. Even if you don't race short course, to me, just that experience is nothing you've ever experienced
And
before.
Crandon is like the odd short course because not like Glen Helen. I mean, it's like
Right.
stretched out. Like
The start, like it's just a land rush down that big old sweeping
one.
right-hander. Yeah, it's insane. It's nothing like, and I've raced short course for more than half my life, and it's nothing compared to Crandon.
Turn one's crazy, especially as a spectator, or if you're sitting up top, because you can watch them come from their land rush start.
that's what I will say about being a TV guy for
You can watch it.
for Crandon. Like I get to see the entire track. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, and even I feel like all the seats, you get a pretty good view of the whole
Yeah.
track, and it's incredible. Like there's nothing like racing back east and doing those races.
No.
Because I even went to what's the one in Elk River?
ERX.
ERX.
Yeah, we were there.
Yep.
You raced the
Yes,
ERX.
I raced the RS1.
Yeah,
And like it's just different. The whole environment and the tracks, everything about it's different than in the Southwest. So it's cool to see.
They have the split lane at ERX,
Yeah.
because you come out of that big 90-degree turn into the split lane, and they changed it because we were there for the Torque Series, the first years when the Carlsons made it, and that one's pretty cool. You did really good in those RS ones. I remember because I was sitting
you
there.
and Levi and Al,
Yeah, and
I
the
think I
Diesel
have a
Brothers.
photo.
the Diesel Brothers.
Yeah, it was fun. It was.
You were
funny
in there with a
'cause
bunch of guys that literally they like to wad things up. So
Well, and I was even just supposed to be there working the Polaris booth. I was like, oh, I'll go to this thing. I know people racing. Like, I'll go to this event. And one of my other friends that was interning at the time came with me. And he's like, yeah, like, we might as well. And so we went, and they're like, hey, so do you want to race? I was like, sure. And Evan was like, yes, you need to. Shelby, you need to race. I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so just got thrown in. Like, I had a bunch of loaner stuff, and
that's funny.
just went. It was my first time driving an RS.
I will say, too, you got the biggest pop out of everybody. You know, here's LaValle, the Diesel Brothers, you know, like mainstream names. And, like, I say Shelby Anderson, and everybody knows the Anderson name. Like, everybody went nuts. And you were in there with a bunch of guys. Like, you had everybody everybody was there was rooting for Shelby Anderson. There was, like, even the hometown boy, Levi LaValle, like, seriously, I think they were booing him for you.
No, it was awesome racing those, because I think it was actually, I've met Levi before, but that was the first time I really hung out with him.
He's a fun dude.
And I know, I know the Diesel Brothers really well.
But you look so tiny, so I took photos. But look, which way is it? It's this way. Look how tiny you look. Look how tiny she looks next to them.
Yeah, 5 feet tall, 98 pounds is...
Well, because I had
little.
to drive one back because Levi left. So remember how
Yeah.
he won? He's like, "Yay, I won podium!" And then
See
he
ya.
left. And then Jeremy's like, "Tiffany, we need to get those off the track. We need to get those off the track." So I just sat in there, and then I drove. And then I was like, "No wonder Shelby had such a great time in this one."
Yeah, that was the thing. It seems like more and more recently, because I know I haven't grown, because I haven't grown since the 6th grade. Okay, I haven't grown since I was 12, and I'm almost 22. And I sat in it, and I was like, this is probably one of the first cars I haven't had to do some serious work in to fit. And that's a big problem for me, and like Ronnie too, but his is obviously the complete opposite.
Yeah.
That I think they even did something with Shaq, and Shaq fit the best in the
That's
RS1.
awesome.
And so it was like, it's cool to see that it has that adjustability to make it fit for anybody.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Because me and Ronnie are two different extremes, and so it's like, how are we going to make this work? But it did, so it's cool.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to swing by, Shelby. I know you got some little shredders in the 170 races here shortly.
Yeah, that's actually another thing I do is I train 170 kids on the side, and I have a bunch of them, and they're out there racing 570s and 170s and just killing it, and it's awesome. That's one of the things I like watching them win more than myself. Like, I was so stoked last year when Caden got third, and he was one of my first students, and I was more stoked about that than I was about my win later that day. Like, it's just, they're the future of it, and so it's just cool to see them and bring them up and not even teach them just about racing and driver technique, but I also like to teach them about sponsorships and speaking and all those little
Everything
things that you
goes
need
with
to
it.
know with racing, because it's so much more than just going
Racing.
fast.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Jim, before we leave, though, I got something for Shelby. If this will play. Why aren't you going to play for me now? Oh, okay, womp womp. It was the final countdown.
Oh.
Now it's not playing.
We'll save that for next one. We'll get her to call into the show with us.
I know, we should. And that's just Shelby's intro every time now. I think
She's
it's
gonna be
coming.
like-
Is it coming?
oh, there it is.
There it is. Da- 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 da. Okay, okay, nobody else finds this funny except us. We're like just laughing. Everybody's like watching us.
Shelby's like, let me out of here now.
Everybody's walking by like, what's so funny?
I know. Okay, thank you, Shelby.
All right, thanks, guys.
Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500 or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. All right, we are here with B Money Brandon Sims. This is another one we needed to roll in with that whole ladies and gentlemen, we've got UTV World Champion of the World because he's won here before.
Which song though do we pick for him?
I don't know. I feel like he's an Eye of the Tiger kind of guy.
Okay,
though.
I got that. Hold on, we're starting some new things.
Brandon's just like, what the hell is going on? No, we're actually live right now. We're just.
You ready, guys?
That was quick.
This is for you.
I'm
on point. Okay, not only am I host, I produce. Ready? Dun, 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 dun. If you could see me, I'm actually like
she's punching. We got the video camera rolling. The video camera is going to be like, what the hell?
Okay,
all right.
Done.
Enough of that. So that was the best intro you've got today.
Yeah, for sure.
You're welcome. T-Stone approved.
T-Stone approved. So anyways, yeah, you do know how to win here at this race.
I do have a pretty good record, and definitely have a way of figuring out how to get to the finish first.
So that being said, I know you said this one's going to be a little bit tougher. Start a little bit deeper in the field.
Yeah. Usually I've had a pretty good start position. You know, the mint leads into your your starting point or starting position for your next race. And this one I had a tough mint, so I had to get in the draw.
What happened? Because I go around the quarry, and I didn't have a peachy keen draw at the mint either. And here's Sims parked. I'm like, that's something you never see. And I'm like, whoa, like my boy, he's parked. And then the next lap I go, no, Brandon's still parked.
Yeah, that's very abnormal for my program. No. Not very often am I sidelined. Fortunately, I was able to get the car back together enough to get my lap done and get a finish, for some points. But, man, we struggled right there. I had a part fail that I've never had fail before. It was a newer part, too, so I don't know if it was just a fluke thing or what, because where I broke, actually, it wasn't even an extreme anything. I already went through all the extreme stuff, and I don't know if maybe it fractured at that point. But, I was just going around the corner, and it decided to break, and then it took us forever to get the parts out there, and it turned into a whole fiasco. Yeah, I watched multiple people go by me twice, and when it's a 120 or 115-mile lap, that's not good when you watch them go by twice.
Like, I don't know. It's one of those, because we were talking with Shelby, and I feel like it's funny because we all race against each other, but it's like I feel like Team Razor, it's like we're a close-knit group of guys. Like, just even we were talking about the group chat, like the shenanigans that was going on in there, but it's like we all want to beat each other, but if we're not going to win, we root for our teammates, and it's like,
right.
You, me, Carver, RJ, Shelby, Mitchie. I mean, the list goes on of Team Razor, but it's like, it's like, I don't know, my heart was breaking every time I go by and see you parked, it's like crap.
Yeah, as bad as you want to, beat everybody, it still hurts to see them on the side, it's more fun to beat them, when everybody's running good and hard.
Yeah. So that being said, I mean, UTV World's obviously car back on point for this one. You know how to win. I mean, you were just telling me you went on the practice lap. You said it's pretty haggard out there.
Yeah, I know a lot of the times everybody complains about them going out and blading this course, and making it a freeway. But I can promise you it's not that way this time. I don't know if other race organizations have come out here with their, different vehicles and ran them on here. I think Best in Desert's been doing it, Snore. And since then, I'm pretty sure they haven't bladed at all because it's pretty brutal out there. There's going to be a lot of carnage. There's going to be a lot of broken parts. Keeping the car together is going to be super important. It was pretty bad. There was lots of spots where I was like, wow, this is way worse than I've ever seen it before. So, everybody always talks about the Fox Proving Grounds being the worst part of the course. And I can promise you that's not the worst part anymore. There's a lot of squared-off whoops on the backside where the washes are at. So everybody be on point or else there's going to be some carnage.
Yeah, which is crazy. I'm never one of those guys that complains about bladed course because, we go on the practice lap and it's been bladed, but by the time we go and do 10 laps, I mean, it's like hell on earth, and I'm like, we're starting with hell on earth. I don't know how it's going to be by 10 laps of us.
Right, and like I was saying earlier, there's multiple classes going before, the turbo class goes tomorrow, so it's going to be, every class that goes through, it's going to be worse and worse and worse. The chatter bumps are going to go from, chatter bumps to chatter whoops, and it's going to, the track will always change here, with that many cars on that doing, only 17-mile loops, that awfully changes the course pretty quick.
Yeah. So what's I know you got. What are your plans for this year? Because you run full best in the desert. You did KOH. I don't know. You doing any of the score races? I know you like to go down to Baja and do some of those, right?
Yeah. So basically, I do all the best in desert. Do King of the Hammers, which is a big one for me. That's always been a big part of my program. I think I've been doing it for like 6 years now. Usually, I try to at least get in on the Baja 500 and the 1,000. I've done it a couple times on my program. I've also teamed up with some other teams and done well with them there as well. So I'm going to kind of play it by ear. I plan on building a new car here, which is going to be extremely crazy because I've been driving the same car for like 4 years now. So I'm going to have to do like a farewell tour with that thing. But it's all going to depend on how that's going. I know I'm going to try to be getting it ready for Vegas to Reno. So
is it 4-seat?
You guys are going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a surprise. So
I know you got like your own fan following because you're the 2-seat guy.
Yeah, I do. When I do well, I've got the people out there always cheering on. Man, you're the only one, the 2-seater alive out there still, that's doing well. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that in a 2-seater compared to all these 4-seaters out there. I'd probably get in a 4-seater and be like, man, it's like Cadillac. Not really seeing what I've been missing out on, but. Everybody's just going to have to see what I end up coming up with. It just depends on how that goes. I might try to get on the Baja 500. Just depends on where my build is at that point. I want to make sure I debut a car that's going to be competitive and all the fun stuff with it. So maybe I'll be working out bugs at that point. We're just going to play it by ear.
Yeah. Well, I know you've even you've shown up. You've taken like just old Terracross cars and stuff and showed up at works races before and things like that and just gone out there. I mean, you just like to drive razors, right?
I do, yeah. Sometimes I'll be sitting at home and I'm like, man, there's a race within 200 miles from here, and I think I should probably get in on that because I'm bored, and that sounds like fun, And those are no-pressure races for me, yeah. The best in the desert score, stuff like that where I have a lot, it costs a lot, those ones, that there's pressure, there's just no way around it. When I go to like a random works race or something, I go out there for fun, and it is what it is. If I break, if I win, it's just for fun.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about fun. So my brother and my family, we've got houses in Prescott. Sims lives in Prescott. They got the biggest snow they've had in probably a couple of decades up there, right? And I was so pissed off I didn't get a text message, get your ass up the hill. Like, he's posting these pictures, and he got razors out in literally, like, a couple of feet of snow. Like, it's just, like, the raddest pictures. I'm like, you guys had to have a ton of fun that night when you guys were out there.
Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the snow because it's cold, but, that was honestly one of the single most fun 2 days I've had. Just the amount of, we go out and we call it No Rules Day, but, because there's just so many, nobody can really get around, where we live, it's just they're not used to that much snow. I think on the ground in town we had like 22, 24 inches in certain spots.
Wow.
And then up in the mountains, which are just, a drive away for us. And the nice thing about Arizona is, all of our units are street legal. So we drive from our house, and then the mountain ranges that are right by our house are, 15, 20 minutes away, and we're at 7,500 feet of elevation. So, up there was 3 feet of snow, 35 inches, 36 inches. And we just went out, and we had news crews following us, and they were, getting interviews with us. They were living it up, and it was honestly one of the most fun times I've had in my razor, just because it was something different. The desert's my home, but when the snow comes out, we were definitely looking for a reason to go play in it. And we were out, I think, one of the nights till like 2 a.m. just having fun, no issues and just drifting every corner, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, it was like the social media posts were coming like in the middle of the night and stuff like that. I'm like, these guys had so damn much fun out there.
Yeah, it was amazing, literally. I enjoyed it thoroughly, enjoyed every minute of it. I wore all my snow gear that I wear snowboarding. I had my snowboard boots on. It's really extremely hard to drive with those, in case you're wondering. But, we just dressed up like we were going snowboarding and went out and had a blast.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because you always say with Best in the Desert, Score, certain things like that, those are high-pressure races for you. So what's been one race out of your entire career where you're just like, hey, I want to go, it's 200 miles away, but then ended up having some of the best times? Like, what's one of those memorable one-off races?
So I would say there was, like Jim was saying, there was a works race in Canyon, which is North Phoenix. And I literally was sitting around my house with some buddies, and we were like, man, what should we do today? And I'm like, well, there's a race down, and it was only 100 miles away, if that. And I was like, let's go check it out. I've never raced a works race, really, and let's go see how we do with that. I had a car that was not set up for works. It was just one of my old King of the Hammers Terracross cars. It's kind of been a little bit of everything car. Went down there, and I think we hit the podium. I got like a second place on my first shot at a works race, and that's an intense style race. I think it's 45 minutes or so of just pure pinned, and there's big jumps, and which is all fun and stuff. But, yeah, I just ended the day, and I was like, man, I had a good time. You know, I was just laughing the whole time. And there's one other race that I do that. The short course race here that I'm literally laughing while I'm driving. You know, I'm just watching the stuff and people out of control and to laugh while you're racing is just, it's weird, you know, and I'm constantly smiling during those races because there's no pressure and, you know, I'm not really worried about what happens.
Yeah, and you guys have, I don't know if it's happening because I want to bring, I've got an old 2-seat RZR I want to bring up, but they're in Prescott Valley. You guys they have like a Prescott Valley Grand Prix right in downtown PV, and I'm like, literally, I'm like, geez, that's like 5 minutes from my parents' house up there. I'm like, I so want to bring my old 2-seater up there and just go have fun.
I've raced that one a few times, and that one, you know, that one is literally a half a mile from my house. I literally a half mile from the field that they have it in, and it's literally right in the middle of the town. I mean, it's right by the event center. You got Walmart, you've got the main road that goes through our town, and then you've got this probably, I would say, 10-acre field that they built a little track in. And it's the biggest turnout for that race organization, and it's right in the middle of town. They use the event center parking lot for pits, and that was also a really fun race because, I mean, I know everybody there. My town's not extremely big. It's like 45,000, 50,000 or something like that. So I know quite a bit of people there. They all come out, and it was a great weekend, too. So like Jim was saying, I mean, that's a very fun race.
Is that one back on this year?
I think so.
What are the dates generally?
I think they do it on Memorial Day weekend is the problem. So a lot of people are either planning to go that for their Memorial Day weekend, or they've already got other plans set for Memorial Day weekend. So
maybe I'll have to make that into
my
plans.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Bring the old 2-seater out there.
Yeah,
'cause they have a little bit. I think they've got a kind of a run what you brung class, right?
Yeah,
just
for
some
sure.
Safety upgrades.
Yeah, it's pretty limited. Yeah. So I mean, you just for your own safety stuff, maybe
yeah, it's a 2-seat turbo that doesn't have. I mean, it's got harnesses in a cage.
Yeah, you're probably good
like
then.
That and doors, but yeah. Like nothing crazy.
But yeah, that's a super fun race. Just for they got a couple little jumps and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun to go and just screw around. What do you think, T-Stone?
I'm just. Well, maybe I should put that back after I drink.
Failing here.
I'm not. I came in with a strong intro song. That's what we need to start doing for everybody. Is have, hey, what song do you want to be intro to?
Gonna put that on your business card. T-Stone in charge of music.
In charge of music. No, I that's what I just wanted to know. Like you said, when you have such high pressure races, intensity. You got sponsors looking at you. You got this. You got that. It's just. What brings you back to happiness? And that, like what you're talking about, I come from Detroit, so I'm so used to that snow.
Right.
Honestly, I know that there's the side-by-sides that the Greaves started putting together where they're racing in the snow and ice racing now. And I think, because Matt was talking about having the worlds be in different areas, the Midwest, the South, the East Coast, I think it'd be kind of cool to do a worlds in snow because that's going to bring out some great drivers. That's going to show you who can drive on all types of terrain. I mean, a lake pretty much. And
right.
I think that's something that I would be interested in seeing is more snow racing for the UTVs.
I did something. So back when we were doing Terracross, Joe had something at Crested Butte, Colorado. It was called the Winter Terracross. And I went up there and did it. And he had a 2-seat RZR there sitting there for me, and it had studded tires. And it was on the side of at the ski resort. We went up like one of the ski runs and down and had some big like rolling jumps and stuff like that. It was absolutely the most fun I've ever had in a RZR. I was so pissed. There's like 10 of us. I got the whole shot. I led this thing. The corner before the finish, some guy came in, hit me, put me on my side, and he won. And I literally led like 98% of that race. I was so pissed.
That'll teach you to be the leader.
Right? Well, it was Jeremy from Terracross who was racing in it. And he gets up. He's like, oh, dude, I set that up for 10 laps. And I'm like, ass.
And he told you he set it up.
Oh, he did. He's like, I knew I was going to punt you. I'm like, well, you're half owner of Terracross. How do I even take this to the,
Do I come to you to complain about you?
So it was a ton of fun, though. But, yeah, dude, that would be fun. So. I don't know. We got derailed on this quite a bit, but yeah. So you're racing short course race this weekend too, though, right?
I've got it. It's all up in the air right now. They keep switching it back and forth on me. I had a car that I was setting up just for that race when it was going to be 70-something miles, and then they switched it yesterday or the day before back to a 50-something mile race. I got a terrible draw for it. I don't know. I'm all up in the air. I'm focused on the desert race at the moment. So I mean, if everything comes together, I'll definitely go race the short course race. But the way it's set up, I mean. It's going to be tough to – I know there's a lot of fast people on the first row is the biggest issue. I don't know. I'm just playing it by ear on this one. I'm going to – it is. It depends on how the – I was actually – my plan was, depending on how my desert car did for the desert race, I was going to re-enter that in the short course race because it was going to be a 70-mile long race, which everybody would have had to stop for fuel. Well, my desert car is a small enough 2-seater, and it's got enough fuel at 70 miles I can do on one tank. So – I was trying to strategize, and I was actually going to race that car and not pit for fuel, which I've done before in that short course race. And had I not blown a belt, I would have won that race. But I was going to race the desert car. So now that they're back to 50-mile race, I can't see any advantage racing the desert car because nobody's going to have to start for fuel now. I don't know. It just keeps switching back and forth, and I know it's for safety and stuff that I was talking to Donald this morning about it. So I know that they didn't want to have gas spills and everything in the pits on the cars that aren't designed for fueling quickly. So I don't know. I'm playing it by ear.
All right. Well, we'll have to see how it works out for you, buddy. But always fun catching up, Brandon.
Yes, always, for sure.
Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com. All right, and what is becoming one of our regular guests here, Mr. Seth Quintero at T-Stone. I guess you got some music for...
See?
Heck yeah.
Have you seen this movie?
Bohemian Rhapsody?
Oh, it's a
good one.
Yeah.
Hold on, but I need to fast forward. There we go. Here we go. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Heck yeah.
Oh, all right. That's an intro. Things are getting even better,
See,
right?
I know. Don't you think everybody should have an intro
For sure,
from
they
now
should
on?
have their own song.
Exactly.
You know what's rad about this whole thing, though, is like we got so much to talk about with Seth, and like we've had him on, 3 times this year now, or whatever. This will be third, I think.
Yeah.
But like he's always got these big announcements. So like we have him at the Mint. Well, I don't know. I had him after the Parker 250, won that, got his first Best in the Desert win, and then he moves into Mint. He wins the Mint. Now you've got like a brand new RZR wrapped all Red Bull. They went, I think Red Bull must have went, man, this kid's winning enough. Why aren't we getting that publicity? We need to wrap his car. So, like, how did that call happen? Like, I've heard your call when they signed you to a hat deal. Like, was that one of those, hey, you're winning too much, we need our logo on your car?
No, I always had a helmet deal for the past 5 years, but with Red Bull you can't.
Oh, there's
there
car.
it is,
Look
right
at that,
there.
right in the background. Like,
There she is right there.
didn't that just work out perfect?
I know.
Right? But,
Did she have a name?
No, I need one. I really, really need one. I was going to put a poll on my Instagram, and I have no clue what to name it.
I'm in the same boat with you, with my Jeep. Like, okay, maybe we
need
can
a
do
name.
Yeah, okay.
It's same car, right? Just new wrap?
Same car, new wrap. So they called me, or they didn't call me. So when you're under 16, the only thing that you can do with Red Bull is a helmet deal. And so I've had the helmet deal for the past 5 years, and I turned 16 and won a couple races. So I think opened their eyes a little bit and got the call. I'm like, hey, it's go time. It's time to wrap your car, and super bumped on it. I think it turned out pretty clean. It's basically the same wrap, but just with the Red Bull logo on it.
So do you like move up a notch in Red Bull world when you go from a helmet to like a full wrap?
Maybe,
type
yeah,
of thing?
I feel like it.
Nice, that's rad. Car looks sick. No, I saw your posts on social media. I'm like, hell yes, Seth.
Yeah, I was so pumped on it. That's like my most liked picture within like a day. It has like 700 likes. So pumped.
That's rad. Oh, the car is sick. Like that's the dream, right? Though,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like every athlete, like every race car driver, drive for Red Bull, have a wrapped car in Red Bull, like.
Super pumped. New suit too.
Oh, you got the new suit?
Yeah,
Like,
Red
dang.
Bull suit.
Now you feel like you got pressure now?
Yeah, for sure. My manager called me right after the Mint, and he's like, "Thanks for doing that one for me. Now it's time to wrap your car Red Bull. No pressure, but don't mess this up." Like, all right, game on. Can't lose anymore, I guess.
Do you know that the whole time you guys have been talking, I've been thinking of names for your car? I like Regina.
Regina?
I don't know why. From Mean Girls. She's the mean, the nice, the really like top level mean girl.
I hate to age us, T-Stone, but Mean Girls came out before Seth was born.
Oh my God.
Seth wasn't even born when Mean Girls came out, T-Stone. I mean, we're both in our 30s, but we don't have to age ourselves that much.
I know, and then I totally aged myself with Will Rogers. Do you know what the Nutty Professor is?
Not a clue.
She's so... Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, that's a movie with Eddie Murphy.
Do you know who Eddie Murphy is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody knows Eddie Murphy.
Okay. So never mind. Regina means nothing to you. Regina George is the main character in Mean Girls, who's like the top mean girl. Not that you're a girl, but like that's mean and whatever. Okay, I'm done.
Race cars are always like traditionally female, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So Regina sounds good. Regina the Red Bull.
Yeah, you don't go, hey, here's my race car, Bobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you'd have to say you ride Bobby.
Oh, my God.
This is going too far. Too far.
Oh, this is nothing. SEMA, we had Keegan Kincaid on for SEMA, and we kept mispronouncing SEMA. We said other things.
Nice.
This is no worse than the group text. I've mentioned this a few times.
Can I be in the group text?
I will add you.
Want to be in it.
Like I sent out a text to Team Razor. I was like, hey, we need to book interviews. And I'm like, I normally send out emails. And like people kind of respond. I'm like, hell, we all have each other's cell numbers. Let's just do a group text. Well, RJ immediately changes the name of the group to Certain Things by Brandon Sims. and like RJ never even answers. He just changes the name of the group.
Yeah. Then we changed the name to Beaver Fever.
Yeah, and
and started like sending a bunch of Beaver memes in there.
And then somebody said something, and then Seth, being jokingly, said, "Hey, there's children in this group." And then somebody's like, we forgot you're in here."
That is true. Like, Seth doesn't even get the champagne when he wins. He gets apple cider still.
I got to pop the champagne at the Mint.
Oh, you did?
They let me.
Ooh.
They handed me the bottle. I'm like, how do I do this?
How do I do this?
You pop it at the Mint, but then they take it away from you?
Exactly, yeah. They take the bottle. I'm like, all right, whatever. It's okay.
That's cool, though. But it was cool.
You get a chance to lick your finger or anything? Like,
no, nothing. Actually, no, my co-pilot sprayed me in the face. I think
did you
get a little taste.
I was like, did you get drunk? He's like, I was wasted off of that one little
that
sip.
Spray.
That spray. Of
so gosh, how is that, though, when you've won? I mean, now you've won one of the big ones, right? The Mint. Take me back. UTV Worlds. Have you won here?
I have. 2015, I was the first to do it.
I was going to say, I thought you had one here. Yeah.
Hoping to, the Mint was crazy. It's definitely a bucket list one. You know, people try year after year after year to try to win it. And this year I ended up getting the win, with last year getting a second. So I have a pretty good ratio at the Mint right now. I'm pretty pumped on it. I'm 1 for 1 at Parker. Feel good about that.
I'll take you out like in December. I'll bring you to Parker, and I'm going to show you some lines, buddy.
Let's do it.
That's a fun race because I know all the lines there. But it was funny at the Mint. So we'd had some problems. We had a car land on us. Everybody's seen the pictures by then, and our car was struggling. And so we're pulling over, checking things, and like you came up in the mirror, and Bryant's like, "Hey, Seth's behind us." I'm like, "I ain't gonna hold Seth up. You know, we're just trying to get the lap done, get back to the pit, and get everything looked at."
Yeah.
So I pull over, you go around, and then I tuck in behind you, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to run Seth's pace. I was like, I'm just going to chill out back here.
Yeah.
Like, we were probably about 10 yards off your bumper for about 15 miles.
Yeah,
you're
it
probably
was super cool. I saw you guys back, and I'm like, they're still back
there. No, you're probably like, what the fuck is Jimmy doing? And it was just literally, I was like, I want to see how Seth drives. I'm like, I'm going to tuck in here. And I was like, I'm not going to pass you. I'm not going to pressure you. I just want to sit back and see. And I was like, I just want to run Seth's pace. And I was like, dude, we were both impressed. I'm like, Seth, like, you weren't making any mistakes, nothing. And I was like, I didn't want to freak you out being back there.
Yeah, no,
but it was like, I honestly just jumped in and I just wanted to watch how you drove. Like, you know, it's like you don't get it all, you know, like Seth's the prodigy, right? You know, and I was like, I want to sit back and see how he drives.
The little NA that could.
Yeah.
No, but you're so humble about it because he calls you a prodigy and you're just like, But you are a prodigy. Be proud of that.
No, it was kind of rad. And then we got into all kinds of lap traffic, and my car started having some other issues from the crash earlier. But it's like for probably a good 15 miles, I got to watch him drive, and like I was impressed. Like he was not making a mistake, and he was running a good, solid pace. Like I hate to say it, but like your pace. You are faster than probably most of the turbos. Like, there's some donkey turbos. We'll be honest.
For sure.
Like, you know, there's some people that shouldn't be in turbo that race in turbo. Yeah. So, and you, I mean, trust me, we all know who the donkey turbos are. But you were like way faster than most of them. I was like, your pace was on point, man.
Thank you.
So so you've got that one. So what's next? Like now you got to be eyeing like, I've got a UTV World Championship win. I've got a Mint win. Like. What's next? Obviously, at some point you want to try and notch a Hammers win, I'm sure. Baja wins, right?
Baja, that's what I'm looking at right now is Baja. Trying to get a team together to go do that. You know, it's not cheap.
No.
My family is a really small family race program. You know, I work on, me and my dad in the garage 8 hours a night, right after school, right after work. We don't have another crew. It's just me, mom, and dad. And my uncle, he's a fabricator, so he'll come and help out every once in a while. But, other than that, it's just us three, and so it's kind of hard to be able to get a team and a chase crew down there like for a long race like that. But hopefully soon, even if I'm in somebody else's car, hopefully try to go get either a 1,000 or a 500
I think this 1,000, you get somebody to, you know, one of these turbo teams or something, throw you in for 200 miles or something like that, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know, I could see that happening. Like you said, Baja, like I've raced down there in the trophy truck and stuff, and I want to take the UTV program back down there, but like you said, it's next level expensive. Like you got to have your ducks in a row. It's more people. Everything is,
We should go and be Seth's chase team.
Well,
just you and I.
My guys would probably love to go down there
I got a bright red Jeep. It's already Razor color.
Deal.
It's already Red Bull color. We'll just bring it as a chase Jeep.
Deal.
Well, and here's a question. Like we were talking about, I've actually had this conversation on the national show, like after the Mint and things like that. We talked about you for like a couple of segments, and I was like, we had fan questions come in and stuff, and I was like, said like, I was like, I hope, like, because everybody's like, oh, when's Seth going to go to Turbo? And I'm like, I hope you stay in NA at least for another year. Like, to me, like, sit down there, win. Like, there's no point in throwing yourself to the wolves of Turbo. Not that you couldn't be competitive, but I'm like, man, sit back and collect these wins and the experience in NA for another year, you know what I mean? And then maybe make a decision, It's like,
I'm gonna try to go until I get a championship.
Yeah.
And then I'll get a championship and then run the number one for the following year, and then I'll hop up into Turbo just because I feel like once you win the championship, then you've proved yourself, and now it's time to go.
Just like Supercross, right? You win a 250 championship, then boom, you gotta.
Exactly.
Some guys will defend the plate for a year, depending on their contract, and then they eventually step up. So
yeah, that's what I'm planning on. If I win, I'm gonna try to defend the plate for a year and maybe even do it back to back. That'd be awesome. But definitely, if I win a championship, I'll move up within the next 2 years.
And it's not. I mean, and I look at 1900 class. There's drivers like you and Kristen Matlock. I mean, it's not an easy class at all. Dude, it's just as tough as the turbo competition. So nice. So what's the strategy for tomorrow here at the UTV Worlds?
Finish.
Where'd you draw? Well, you're
first,
up front, right? Yeah, you got
up front. But we got those 2 wins out of the way, and honestly, I wasn't even expecting to win the Mint. I'm like, hey, I just really want to go finish, get some good points, and just see where I end up. But racer mentality, it's checker to checker. You're wide open the whole time. So the Mint was great. Both the Mint and Parker were literally perfect. I couldn't ask for a better race. Actually, the Mint had a couple problems that we found out after the race, which was making a weird noise. But
you always find out of those after the Mint. Dude,
so,
that is so hard on cars.
Yeah, so basically my tranny and motor were just jumping up and down on my skid plate because all my mounts broke. So
I've had that before.
I don't know how I finished, but we finished. And really we're just looking for points now. We're looking at the end game. Championship is going to be the next goal. So.
Just finishes, right? You got to get finishes.
Exactly. Try to be the Ryan Dungey of UTVs.
Nice. So. Ryan Dungey, UTVs, good company there. Yeah, have you had a chance to meet Dungey?
Yeah, I was actually just texting him not too long ago.
Yeah. I love Ryan. He's been on the show like 3 or 4 times, and I met him once in person. Like, super nice guy.
Super awesome. I'm trying to get him back in a Razor. He's been looking at him. He doesn't know when to pull the trigger on which one to buy. I'm like, dude, trust me. Let me make a phone call. I'll help you out. It's all good.
The guys we talked about him for the Star Car program coming in and racing with me or something. But, like he would be the brand. He's a Minnesota boy. He's right down the street. Yeah. And Levi LaValle could help him out because Levi's got Razors. He's got the compound. They're buddies. Like, it's needs to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Evan, if you're listening to this, I know you tune in once in a while. Seth and Jimmy are saying, bring Dungey into the family.
Please.
Yeah, Schuler's over there smiling, saying, yeah, do it.
I got some stories about Schuler from past.
I think we all got stories about Schuler.
I think we should hear them before we interview him, so then we could ask him about that.
Just ask him about Texas. That's all I'm saying is ask him about Texas. He doesn't remember much of Texas, but yeah.
All right, Seth. Well, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Good luck. Good luck, man. And hopefully we can. If you win, I'm going to be texting you. Hey, you got to come on the show this week.
For sure, I will. I'd love to do another phone interview.
So, all right, buddy. Thanks a lot, Seth.
Thank you.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
All right, so we got some kind of intro coming from T-Stone here for Brandon Schuler. I have no idea what's going to play.
Hold on.
Nice. That'll work.
Oh, my gosh.
Good stuff right there.
The intros. You are a resident DJ. Polaris going to put you on contract. You're the DJ.
I am. It's
DJ T-Stone.
You got the DMX party up. Everybody who's come on the show has gotten an intro song.
There you go.
So
has it been different for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Sims was Eye of the Tiger. What the hell was Shelby?
Shelby was Europe. Final Countdown.
Final Countdown.
Nice.
Seth was just We Are the Champions by Queen. So now you are I don't know why. You just seem like a DMX party up because
I'm not going to lie. I have some DMX on my phone.
Okay.
For sure. So,
Who doesn't have DMX, though, right?
Exactly.
Like, you've got to have 1 or 2 DMX songs on your phone. Like, that's...
It's a real
The
deal.
Rough Riders anthem. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See? Now I didn't age myself.
No, we're on the level with him.
I
Like
know.
she started spitting out like a movie to? Oh yeah, she started. We were trying to name Quintero's new razor.
So Regina George from Mean Girls.
Okay, yeah.
And Seth's like, I said, T-Stone. I said, Seth wasn't even born when Mean Girls came out. I was like,
He's a baby. We were making fun of him in Texas all last week about that, just how he's a little kid and we have to keep an eye on him. It's like, hey, they have an arcade here. Keep yourself busy for a little while.
Hey, I like the arcade, okay? The Riverside Arcade.
I do have to say, like, when Seth, because I'm sure we'll all still be with Polaris if they keep us around that long, and when he turns 21, we literally have to throw Seth, like, the biggest, baddest 21st birthday.
He's going to be hurting
the
day after his 21st, that's for sure.
Yeah, like, but tell Aaron and Amy, he's in good hands, and they're going to be like, yeah.
I don't think they'll believe that.
No.
They know all of us too well.
So I don't know. The Quinteros are amazing people, though. Good people.
Absolutely. This whole deal is an awesome family. Everyone here, whether it's their parents or significant others or just them as racers, everyone here is so awesome.
Yeah. No, it's like we were saying. It's like I know that we all give each other crap. Everybody race each other hard, bust each other's balls. But at the end of the day, I'm like, if it came down to it and I needed something, I'm like, everybody's got one. It was like, I literally had no engine to run the Mint.
Yep.
Craig Scanlon out of nowhere goes, oh, here's my used race engine from last year. And he literally delivers it to my shop, and he was the first guy I happened to talk to. But I was like, I knew anybody else that had one there, they would have been there too. You know what I mean? And it's just things like that. It's no questions asked. It's like, yeah, what do you need?
Yep. Everyone wants to see everyone either at the finish line, start line, whatever. Just make sure they get out there racing.
Yeah. So speaking of getting out there racing, you guys had you were on a pretty hot streak there for a while, and I don't know. I don't want to say things ran cold now a bit, but you guys, you guys were taking no prisoners there for a bit at Jagged X.
Yeah, we started out the season pretty strong. We took second place at Parker, which was awesome. That was nice running up there. We started like 56th at Parker, so we had our work cut out for us for sure, and we made our way towards the front. Didn't quite get around Dustin Jones, but we ran him down as best we could, and the Mint just wasn't our race. You want it to be your race, but it didn't work out for us. We had a handful of mechanical issues, but we overcame them. We got a finish, and we're at the next one.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I was trying to think back. UTV, where I start all the way in the back of our group, so I'm 70-something, whatever.
Yeah.
There was one year here, and I don't remember if you podiumed or what, but you started all the way in the back, and I remember there's one year you made one hell of a run from the back, and it was like the last group, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I forget exactly where we ended up finishing it, but starting at the back, on this race, you're not down a ton of time, but you got a bunch of traffic to deal with. So all 10 cars that are starting in your row, you guys are all on the same exact clock. So you really just gotta fight for that position, for that whole shot. That's really important at this race. So yeah, it's a little bit different than what we're used to, but it's a nice change.
Yeah. Well, and a guy like you, like some races, it's like I feel like you do Vegas Reno, you go to Baja. You've got, a little bit of time at the start of the race to just kind of settle in, hit your groove. Like this, dude, it's just like, boom, right? It's game on. That green flag drops. There is no, ease into things. It's like you got to be on point. And I think sometimes people are a little too on point, and they're flipping over in the first corner and stuff. But
absolutely,
this is that weird race. Even at the Mint, you can settle in a little bit, and it's like here, no.
Nope. No, it's an on-off switch for this one. Yeah. But so we've got another crew that's in San Felipe this weekend again.
I was going to say, because you guys are running for score points too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're running both series. So my dad is down there in San Felipe taking care of that whole crew. Majority of our crew's there. I think we've got 3 guys, and my wife and kids are coming out. So we're short-staffed here, but we got about 10 guys in San Felipe. Yeah.
So I get that. Like our guys too. I've got some friends that pit for other teams, and they're down in San Felipe, and we've got, I think it's me, my co-driver, and 4 people in the pit. You know, it's like we got to take one dump can. I think it's
exactly.
If you got anything else than that, you got bigger problems here.
Exactly. This race is
maybe
tough.
A belt.
Exactly. Tough to overcome mechanical issues, but
yeah.
I do have a question for you. When you're talking about, land rush starts and different things like that and how imperative the whole shot is, when you're sitting there, you're waiting for the green flag. How many different things or what exactly, I know you got a game plan, but everybody also says once you get punched in the face, that game plan kind of goes out of the way. But land rush start, like Jim was saying, it's you either get that whole shot or you don't. Like, how do you recover? What's the steps, I guess, that goes right before that green flag drops?
Well, I usually sing a DMX song to myself, right? That's how I get myself going. But no, it's definitely nerve-wracking for sure. That green flag drops, and like you said, if you may have a game plan, but if someone cuts you off or you're doing really good, all of that could go out the window. You just kind of ride by the seat, right? And it's just hammer down and try not to get in an accident. That first turn is the biggest thing that can wad up your car, and you're half mile into the race and you're out. So you really got to just kind of pay attention, take it somewhat easy around that first corner, and then know your laps. Know that you got 10 laps to try and pick people off, because again, it's track position, because all those guys that started there with you, you got to take them off because they're starting the same time as you. So if they finish in front of you, they beat you.
Do you get nervous still?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
This race especially, just because we're not used to the land rush start, So
it's hairball, and it's like, I know I'll stay in my line. I'm not worried about me.
Yep.
I'm worried about the guys on their left and right of me, because it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. People driving over tires. And,
flipping. Like, I had a guy literally kind of flip over the top of my hood last year.
Yep.
Like, it's bananas, and it's like you're getting hit from behind, and you've got nowhere to go because you're on the bumper, the rear bump of the guy in front of you, and they're just like destroying the back of your car, and you're like, I got nothing. I can't.
There's no room to give at all.
It's crazy.
I wish you could. I know that there's not really like horns, but how awesome would it be if you could just have a horn like, "What are you doing?" Honk!
Straight up road rage status.
Yeah, it's
throw your fist out the window.
My fist has came off the steering wheel a handful of times at the start line like this.
Okay.
For sure.
It's like the whole first lap. It's like you just got to get through it, and then it's like you can. It's seriously. It's like, and it's dusty because everybody's bunched up. It's literally survive the first lap, then start racing.
Exactly. It really there's a lot of truth to that, because I know I forget how many years ago it was, but we raced this race, and one of the guys that's on our team, Craig, was actually racing for us. He ended up rolling the car on one of the turns out. I don't know, probably 3 miles out, something like that. I never saw him the first lap. First 2 laps, I never saw him. We passed him. He was right there on top of the berm. Right there, and I never saw him. So it's scary to know that one of those guys could be in the dust at any point in time, and you have to motor on. So it's kind of sketchy.
It's crazy. How about you guys? I know you guys have been, obviously, you were like OG Team Razor, day one.
Yep.
I don't even know. You guys are running turbos right now, 4-seat chassis. How are you feeling? We got Turbo S's, guys are building those. I mean, we know we can't really talk about what's in the pipeline, but I don't know. How are you guys feeling? Like, I know, like, Sims is like all catty, like, hey, I'm going to tell you what I'm building next. Might be a 2-seat. Like, you see these other manufacturers with the units that are like in between wheelbase.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you think is going to be the hot ticket moving forward? Where do you think these builds are going to be? I guess what I'm asking, Brandon. Like 2-3 years out, because things have gone kind of bananas lately.
Crazy, yeah, no, absolutely. These cars are just getting out of control. I mean, not just money, but just the build, the amount of time and craftsmanship that goes into all these cars is just out of control. We're an open book on our race team. We'll tell you anything about our race car at any point in time. So I'm building a 4-seat Turbo S right now. It's in the works, and it's a slow process, but it's a process nonetheless. And
that's what I'm looking at. I got to build a new one for next year, and I think we're going to plan in like September doing a build for next year. And I was thinking about 4-seat S.
Yeah, I think it's a awesome platform and
velocity one where we can change the shocks out and stuff like that.
Exactly. So we're making a couple changes on it. I went to a way bigger fuel cell, but we raced Score too. So getting in that 200-mile range before we can, see anyone or have to worry about where a truck is. So we're a 35-gallon tank, and obviously BFG tires, walk driving shocks. All of the sponsors that we have now they'll be on board for the new cars. So I'm excited for it. It'll be nice.
Well, and everything you guys have is always super clean, and like, I don't know, it's got me excited.
We try. We do everything in house now, so it's we used to sub out everything, and it changed. The cars leaving your shop for weeks at a time. You don't know what's happening to it, whose hands are on it, and it's just. So we changed things up, and now we do everything in house. So like I said, it's a slow process, but it's a process.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know T-Stone, you're getting ready to have to check out and do some Razor 170 interviews.
Yeah, with the little youths, which I'm so excited. Honestly, those drivers have the best sportsmanship I have ever seen across any series, any of the youths, and because they'll go out, bash each other a little bit on the course, especially like short courses and stuff like trophy carts and everything, and then they'll come back and you'll go, high five, awesome, that was a great job, high five here, and then they go play like football or something after a race RC car. So I really always, and they're so excited, but the best though, Jim, you probably know this, is when you ask them, how are you doing today? They're like, great.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, awesome. Well, I know you're doing great, but how's everything else? So I always like them. They're always the greatest. So
Absolutely, and it's the future. That's the biggest part. It's they're the next desert racers.
Well, it's like we're talking, Seth Quintero, Shelby Anderson. She's talking about running trophy car. It's like, just you see the ladder system, right there.
Yep, exactly. It's awesome.
And they haven't got salty yet.
Exactly.
They haven't got salty yet.
Yep.
They're still happy. They don't know about real disappointment when you're like, what is happening?
Exactly. Yep.
All right, Brandon. Well, good luck, buddy. It'll be fun
today,
banging doors with you. And I don't know, I'm all the way in the back. Hopefully you never see me.
Hopefully not, but you never know. So we'll see.
All right.
Thank you.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. All right, Jim Beaver and Tiffany Stone out here at the, I was about to say with the UTV World Championship this go around. I got our first guest of the day. I don't know, we met last year, I think, in Charlotte at the ARCA race, but Will Rogers, who I guess, tell us, so you were affiliated with Mad Media, and then I know you from NASCAR racing, part of the NASCAR Next program, but then it was like you text me early this year, you wanted to come back and try a couple of off-road races in a UTV. So, I don't know, you've been kind of around. You're like a guy like me and Tiffany, where you're around all kinds of motorsports.
My whole life, my whole career, I've been all over the place. So, yeah, ever since I was 8 years old, it's just been motors and whatever I can get my hands on. But yeah, I've been racing full time on the NASCAR side for a while, almost coming up on 4 years here. And I raced,
opportunity come up with Hercules Tire this year to get back into it. So, yeah, I was trying to figure out my best avenue trying to do it, and here we are. Raced the Mint 400, and now we're back at the World Championship. 2 years after we initially made our start with Hercules and racing 2 classes. So really excited to be doing it.
Yeah, well, and tell us about how did the Mint 400 go? I mean, like it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So it's like, how did the Mint 400 go for you guys?
Well, like the lead up to the Mint was awesome. Obviously.
Yeah, I feel like I feel bad. I set that question up, and he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh, we got to find out the story here."
And you can't really backtrack on it either. You can be like, "Never mind."
Yeah, no, I'll give you the details for sure. It was awesome, though. I mean, being my first Mint, like you elaborated on, I've been with Mad Media for a long time, so I had shot the Mint. Oh my God, maybe 5 or 6 times with those guys, along with other races. So being behind the camera, I got to see the pageantry of it all and watch the race grow over the years, and finally, years later, be able to come back and compete. It was definitely a big goal. So just showing up, for tech and contingency when that kicked off, knowing that I'm a driver as opposed to the guy just filming it, it was an awesome feeling. All that went really well. Went really great for Hercules Tire, really bringing the brand back and introducing it to the off-road industry. Got a lot of eyeballs on it, so that was really neat to do. But as far as the race goes, man, it started off really good. We did not have a really good draw. We started 59th, but by the first lap, I think we were 42nd on the road, and the second lap, we were 24th on the road. So we made up a ton of spots, and I don't know if this is accurate or not. I didn't go back and look at the history, but somebody told us we were top 3 on time for a while. So we had good pace, and for me, I was actually trying to just back it down and run conservative, not blow a belt like everybody else we were passing was doing, and just take care of the car so the third lap we could put our head down and charge. And we were on track to doing that, but 200 miles in, just past pit B on the second lap, we blew a transmission and lost high gear. So, it's part of racing, part of the deal, but really happy to say that the Hercules tires held up really, really well. We were performing really well, had a great time, just unfortunately didn't grab that finish we wanted so bad.
Well, that's not on you, though. You can't be upset about that. Like, that's a car that's transmissions go out in racing. I mean, it's not like you went and put it on its lid or something like that. Car burned to the ground.
No.
It's like, I was expecting a story like that with that face. I'm like, oh, no.
I was expecting, hey, we started, the whole car just blew up, everything's gone. I was standing on top of it. Nobody came and found me for hours. I was stuck in the desert. It's like, no, it was great. We had the best time out of the top 3, and then transmission blew up.
Yeah. Well, I'm a super competitive guy. Yeah. Being that I've been a racer my whole life and racing in NASCAR where it's really close, I'm when you take those little falls after working so hard, it hits you just as much as if the car would have burst into flames. Yeah. I'm glad that it didn't, but something that was really cool about that weekend is I got to include my buddy Tanner Fox, who's a really big social media influencer on YouTube and Instagram. He's getting into racing, and I was able to bring him in to be my co-driver. And Tanner, it was his first race in at least a professional setting in a car, and he kicked ass. I mean, he did
awesome.
a really good job. Obviously, he navigated for me, and we went over drills on how to change belts and things like that. And it was awesome just to bring a new person into the sport who is super influential, who could, bring a lot of new eyeballs, which he has so far, to the sport. I was really happy to.
He's got like a crazy Instagram following.
He does.
Is his normal Instagram? Or?
Yeah, at Tanner Fox.
Tanner, TANNFOX.
Yep.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
4 million.
Yeah.
I was thinking like 275 when you said that. Okay, well, never mind. I was going to option to be like, hey, I could co-drive with you. I almost have 10,000 followers, but no,
well,
never mind. 4 million is nowhere compared to that.
There's no judgment here. We can work out a deal for sure. But, yeah, he's got a great following on social media, and then including YouTube, he's close to 9 million subscribers. And the 2 videos where we were highlighted, we did a test out in Ocotillo with Mad Media, actually. Went really cool. Did a really good piece with them, but Tanner got to do some behind the scenes of the testing, and then he got a good amount of footage from the race too. Those 2 videos he published are close to over 1 million views. So I think exposure for not only what our efforts are on the race side, especially with Hercules Tire and our other sponsors, but then for off-road racing in general, I think it was really good to get that and introduce it to a whole new audience.
No, that's awesome.
And I don't think people realize how ridiculously hard it is to get a video to 1 million views. And I know, like, with StarCar, like, our goal was every single video to get 100,000 views, and we did that. And then we had Pastrana come in at times, and then all of a sudden we're hitting 3 million, 4 million views. But, like, you have to have that type of following. Like, I mean, for you or I, like, I don't care how good of a video it is. It's so hard to get those numbers unless you have somebody that's built up that social following.
Exactly. I mean, we did that video during the test with Mad Media for Hercules, and it was a banger for sure. It was amazing, and we're nowhere close to the view count. But that's just the way it goes. You got to have that clout per se,
or a
for
really
people
good
to watch.
Bikini.
Yeah,
really good bikini.
That helps too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, we got the snort. We are on point
that's
today.
That's awesome.
T-Stone snort number 1 of the day.
Yeah, we got rules to live by in snorts. That was a good one if we got a snort.
It's because it made me laugh, okay? Because there's no way I'm going to get 4 million views unless I change some belts or some tie rods in a bikini.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
You're
now we're on to something.
See?
Yeah.
We're on to something now. Okay, we'll have to B2B after this.
And to be honest, all I could think is when you say Hercules tires is from back in the day when Hercules from
oh gosh.
What movie is that movie?
That is it Nutty Professor?
Nutty Professor.
Oh man, I'm too young.
Oh,
I don't
God.
know.
You've got to watch it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Who is it? Is it
Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy is in a fat suit.
And he plays all the characters.
And he plays all the characters.
How old are you?
I'm 24.
Oh God.
Yeah.
They made a sequel, but it's not as good as the first one.
No,
okay.
but in the thing he goes Hercules, and so that's all I'm thinking.
I'll go back and watch.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's like Eddie Murphy on point.
If we win one of these races, we'll make a meme out of it or a GIF.
Yep.
We'll do that. I'll go back and find the footage.
Oh God!
And you got to put your face on it though.
Oh boy! All right, I'll have to talk to some serious editors about doing that.
Get Will in a fat suit.
Hercules.
You know what? I don't know if anybody would know what was going on, but her and I'd laugh at it.
Yeah.
But that's how most of the time go, because Jim and I have so many inside jokes from the amount of times we've talked and work and hang out together and all this stuff that we laugh and nobody has any idea what we're doing.
Like
it's okay.
When you're tonight in the hotel room and you got nothing to do, it's like go on to Netflix and it'll probably be on there. And
I will.
It's one of those I will, no pun intended.
And he'll message us and be like,
I get it now. Yeah, you get a random DM at like 1 a.m.
Yeah. So NASCAR Next program. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you were doing some NASCAR stuff last year. You did K&N Series. I saw you out at the General Tire ARCA 150.
Yep.
This year, I know you're back part of the Next program. I mean, it's just a rad group of people that are part of that. I mean, you, Haley Deegan, Riley Herbst, Zane Smith. I mean, it's like the kids that are – you guys are going to be shredding, Cup here in 5 years, It's like,
I hope so.
So how does that work? I mean, one, how do you get, to be a part of the NASCAR Next program, and then too, I mean, it's like this year. I know you're still like kind of like, hey, where you don't know quite where you're going to be yet.
Yeah, I don't really have a path this year yet. But as far as the NASCAR Next program, it's a really neat opportunity for somebody like me to be a part of. Guys before me like Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, they've all been in this program, and now we all see their star power now in the Cup Series. But really, to be a part of it, you need to outshine a lot of your other competitors, not only on the racetrack, but especially off the racetrack. And then NASCAR will consider you to be...
They do media training and stuff like that, right? Because I remember when I was at Charlotte, there was a guy from NASCAR, and he was talking, like, with a lot of the drivers and things like that as I'm doing interviews or whatever, like, and they were just coaching, talking social media. Like, I didn't realize NASCAR really has a person, like, dedicated to you guys.
There are multiple people. Actually, so there's a whole driver marketing segment to NASCAR up in Charlotte, and I don't know how big the office is, but it's got to be over 20 or 30 people. And there are 4 or 5 people dedicated specifically to NASCAR Next, which is really neat. They give us a lot of resources as far as working on social media strategy, business strategy, helping with PR events to get our names out there more. And you really appeal when you're good on the racetrack and good off the racetrack, and that's why they picked me. It's not often that you find somebody like me or another guy that's on the program, Ryan Vargas. We don't race as much as all the other guys that we're on the program with, so it was kind of odd for us to be part of it. But because we didn't race as much, we had to outshine in one area, and it was off the racetrack. Mm-hmm. So he and I really excelled in the PR, in the just being an ambassador of the sport, and that's why they put their faith in us.
It's funny. I've become good friends with IndyCar driver for Andretti, Zach Veach.
Okay.
And Zach, he just signed this really big 3-year deal for Andretti. It's year number 2 of it. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of parallels I'm drawing with you because he's not independently wealthy. It's not like he's got mom or dad that can go and write a check.
Yeah.
But, he went up to the Indy Lights program. He was successful there, won some races, but, like, he ran out of funding. So he went to IndyCar, and he was just like, he's like, hey, we got to get the social media pause in there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, but he went to him and he's like, I want to stay involved. So he started doing like IndyCar radio and an analyst there. And they're like, hey, they've got that 2-seater, that they allow to go around the track and take celebrities for drives. And so he was driving the 2-seater, and he just wanted to be at the track helping in any way he could.
Yep.
And it kept him in front of people. And then certain opportunities popped up, and he was the first call because, like, he proved, hey, I just want to be there. I want to be a part of this. I'll be an ambassador, whatever it takes. And I feel like you're that guy, like, whatever it takes to get there. Like, I'll do anything. Just, give me an in.
Give me that chance. I will do it. He's what I call a racer. And when you get into professional auto racing, especially at the upper echelons like in NASCAR, you really start to learn who the racers are and who the guys are that just like to race, right? It sounds like he's one of those guys, like you just said, he's willing to do whatever it takes to be behind the wheel and win races. And I definitely think of myself as being in that category. And there's definitely a different level of respect because if you have to grind and do whatever you have to do to get there and people know it and you earn it, it's a whole nother level for me, for sure.
So that being said, UTV World's a little bit different field than the Mint. This is like a all-out, I call it a slugfest, man. Gloves off, we're coming out swinging 100%, no strategy other than just hammer down, right?
This is my kind of race.
Yeah, I was going to say, it probably suits you well, right?
It does. I mean, in stock car racing, because the races are so long, we're in the car for over an hour and a half at times, and if we're in ARCA racing, we're changing tires, but if we're in K&N, we only have one set of tires. So we have to learn the strategy, kind of like the Mint. But then for this stuff, it goes back to my roots with sprint sports car racing. So we're just going as flat out as fast as we can for a short amount of time. I definitely like this style. When we were here 2 years ago to race the UTV World Championship in the short course class, I did just that, and we finished second. After having a few little issues, the car went to limp mode a few times. We actually missed the first spot by just under a minute. And I know if we wouldn't have had those issues, we would have won the class. So that being said, I really, really enjoy this style of racing, and I can't wait to go. I can't wait to race on Sunday afternoon, but really Saturday afternoon, but Sunday morning is really the race I'm looking forward to.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it, too.
I just have one question. Just because, being 24 years old and going through, the NASCAR Next program that you were talking about, have you been able to meet one of your idols or any of them particularly? Who is somebody that you didn't expect that you'd be like, man, now I'm a fan after meeting them, though?
So it's kind of my claim to fame story, actually. When I was racing Sonoma and K&N in 2017, I just happened to be teammates with Kevin Harvick that weekend. He made a statement to come back and try to help short track racing or at least more grassroots style racing and help promote it by being there. And I was the lucky guy that got to line up next to him and unload in the same hauler. We ended up racing head-to-head at that race, and I was faster times than Kevin and proved it. He ended up winning the race, but only because I decided not to rough him up a little bit in turn 11 on the last lap. And when he got out of the car, he raved about me to the media, said, Will's the real deal and this, that, and the other. He's a guy I really didn't expect to meet because the Kevin Harvick persona, maybe before he became more of a family man, was always pretty rough around the edges. He wasn't necessarily the really nice guy to come up and talk to. But after having that personal experience, he definitely became I don't really idolize people, but I definitely look up to people and kind of see them as mentors. He's definitely one of my mentors now, and now I can say he's a personal friend. So that's really one of those opportunities that I had, and it just kind of transpired into that. The one thing I will say, though, is he beat me in 2017. I came back to Sonoma in 2018, and I more or less waxed the field with 6 other Cup drivers in it. So I took a lot of lessons that he taught me that year and applied them and proved that I could back up what he stated when he got out of the car in 2017.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I just always because you grow up watching these people, you're in this sport, you talk to them, you meet them, and sometimes people are always like, never meet your idol, because they let you down. So I always wanted, who did you not expect to meet? And that kind of changed it. So it's cool. It's like when I met Jim Beaver. He changed my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not saying for the good, though.
Yeah.
He just screwed everything up.
It was all downhill after that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, man. So what's next after? Obviously, I know you were going to do Mint, UTV Worlds. I guess I'm assuming stock car season hitting full swing here.
Yep. We're working full tilt on trying to figure out what our next race is. We don't actually have anything solidified right now. And in the upper echelons of racing in NASCAR, it takes big dollars to go racing. And the biggest thing that I do every day, and it's my core business, is sponsorship. So we've been off to a little bit of a slow start this year, honestly. But what we're really trying to do is get a few races this year, but really, really build up for 2020. We want to make a debut into the National Series, potentially trucks, but more hopefully the Xfinity Series full-time. So that's really, what I've got on the docket. And who knows, maybe you'll go see me race a few stock cars this year, but maybe more so in 2020.
Yeah. You ever jump into sprint cars at all, like midgets or anything?
Ooh, man. I have so much respect for those guys, and, I want to more than anything, but my mom would not be okay with it because they are so dangerous. It's insane. But I love going to the sprint car races. My sponsor, Dryden Performance Products, they sponsor Shark Racing that races in the World of Outlaw series, so they've had me out to the racetrack a few times, and it is absolutely incredible to see these guys. What I always say is the most talented drivers in the world, it's got to be the Australian V8 Supercar Series, and it's got to be the World of Outlaw Series. Those are the talents that come out of motorsport, in my opinion. Those guys drive to no end. It's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. V8 Supercars are crazy. I mean, it's been a fan of that for a couple of decades, even before, even before it actually social media and stuff. I was buying tapes and having them shipped from Australia to watch
amazing.
it. It was crazy.
Those guys bouncing off the curbs and being that they're pretty much stock cars in Australia with a little bit of aero and a little bit different motors, but sequential gearbox in them, tons of power.
Those guys get rowdy.
And they're just bouncing off curbs left and right and sometimes jumping, like at Adelaide. Yeah. I think it's Adelaide. They jump the curb and the whole thing's up in the air and they come down, and it's wild. But those are definitely guys I look up to, like Jamie Whincup, Scott McLaughlin, like Craig Lowndes. Those guys who are super talented from Australia. It's really neat to watch those guys.
Yeah. All right, well, I appreciate the time, man. I know we got UTV World Championship contingency day out here, but great to have you stopping by, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really happy to be here, and let's do it again.
All right, for sure. And that's about all we've got today for the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those, and ladies, enjoyed those interviews out there at the UTV World Championship with Tiffany Stone and myself. Thanks to all our guests. Thanks to you guys for tuning in. Thanks to all our partners. We'll have a regular show back next week with a long-form interview. But, had a lot of fun doing this one out on site. So we'll sprinkle these in from time to time here. Make sure hit that subscribe button over there on iTunes. Definitely helps us out. Also got a YouTube YouTube channel. You can subscribe there. Follow me at Jim Beaver 15 on all forms of social media. Hit up my other project, Project Action, on Podcast One. That one you can subscribe to on iTunes as well, or everything at downanddirtyshow.com is right there available, prime for the picking. But really trying to get you guys to help and support us, and make sure and rate and review over there on iTunes when you do subscribe. Anyways, we are going to sign off for this week. We'll be back next week with another Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition powered by Polaris RZR. We'll see you then.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.